last night I had a dream. The first thing that I did when I woke up this morning, I didn't even realize the difference between waking up and being in the dream, except for the thoughts of the dream and stuff were still with me. I felt like I was even still in the dream. I had to question whether I was awake, but I recognized I was in my bed. I knew that I was. But the dream was holding on so strong still, even though some of the portions of the dream had begun starting to fade. And I knew what I needed to do, so I started praying to God that God would quicken my memory. And I started praying to God that He would also give me revelation, because I really know that the dream was from Him, and I really truly believed in my spirit that I was likely supposed to share this. And if I was, I needed to do what I knew I needed to do, and stay with God, stay in the moment, stay present, and ask Him for His divine revelation and His quickening so that I could hold on to it if it was His will for me to share it. So I have been getting downloads so far this morning since I've woken up, things that have been clearing up, some things still unanswered, but I'm going to take it from the top. So I was in a room.
The date today is what?
I don't know what the date today is.
Today's the Wednesday the 16th. Wednesday the 16th of October, 2024.
So I was in this dream. I was in a room with my wife. It seemed like other couples, also some singles and stuff that were, our age, or at least of our mindset, one mind, one accord. It was very evident and obvious that all of us were living with an end days atmosphere and understanding and knowledge of the truth, and we were watchers. We were watching, and we were conferencing and deliberating and talking and sharing, and we were living near, even as we are now, I believe, but in this dream, surely at a time of the end, we were looking for things to happen, because things have been happening. And I think that is what led me to the next portion of the dream. I ended up outside, and I was walking down the street, and while I was walking down the street, I was looking up, and there were some other people now that I remember it good. Okay, there was some other people, but they weren't with me on this next part, so I'm not sure what happened, but I had looked up and seen something strange about the sky, and then we were talking about that, and then whatever we were talking about led to me saying out loud and aghast, almost like that, and looked up, and it was during the day. It was light out, and this great big cloud, moving like a sponge, upwardly and downwardly all at the same time, like it was flexing, ended up hurling towards the earth. And when it hit, it sent out a massive energy wave that knocked me face forward onto my hands and my feet. And there I was on the ground, and I knew that whatever was to come of this, past the energy blast, nuclear fallout, damage, explosion, fire, judgment fire, whatever was attached to this was imminent. So I began doing what you should do, and I started to call upon the Lord and, pray to be counted worthy to escape the things that should come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. And while I was doing that, it made its way to me. As it was making its way to me, though, because I was in prayer, mind you, after I got done with that prayer, I had enough time to peek out from behind me from a prone position, and I could hear, which is what made me turn around, I could hear this energy surgence hurling, and it was hurtling towards me, and it was big, it was massive. You couldn't tell how far left to right, up to down. It was just massively and folding and rolling and just bearing down in my direction, and everything that was, in its wake. And when it got to me, I was more than relieved that I was able to feel the pressure of the blast, the fullness of it coursing past me, but I didn't feel it in any kind of terms of physical pain. I didn't burn. I had no outwardly damaging effects at all to my body. And then that one was kind of the end of that portion of the dream. It kind of pulled another direction very, very fast. I didn't get a chance to look around at any other humans, dogs, buildings. I wasn't able to tell the damage and stuff, but the one thing that I did leave out that I'm still questioning for clarity was when it was coming and rolling and surging at me, because remember, I got to look at it. It seemed to have some color with it, and I didn't know if that meant nuclear only, or if that meant nuclear and it was some sort of chemical, or if that meant nuclear and it had to do with like an EMP-like burst or explosion. I don't know how to research that or validate that, so I'm just asking God to explain it to me. I don't remember from the very brief look of it passing past me, because I think I instinctively closed my eyes when it was just upon me, and then I was moved to a different part of the dream. But I don't remember seeing explosions and what the aftermath looked like when it rolled through. So I don't know exactly what this did. But I know that I wouldn't have survived it if I hadn't been supernaturally protected. 100%. It was meant to destroy. It was a very bad thing. 100%. And then that's when I basically warped or disapparated into the room that we had previously been in, where the focal point, where the origin of the dream started. I was in that room, and then when I was sharing with my wife the first time, I was rehearsing what happened when I was telling her my dream this morning. I thought that we were all just kind of talking about it and stuff, but that wasn't the case. I was talking to them. I had clearly seen and felt something that nobody else had seen and felt, and it made a little more sense why I didn't see any aftermath, destruction, burning, wailing, screaming, and whatnot. Is I may have been having a dream within a dream, or being given a private word or message from God, or insight, vision of what is coming. Because when I ended up there, I remember in a very fearful, dreadful way, not for myself, because I knew I was saved out of it, but for everybody. They needed to have the knowledge that I knew that this thing was real, this thing was coming, there's nothing that's going to stop it. I was given a clear, concise, I know, given understanding that this had something to do with 7. I didn't know if it was a process of a week, day, minutes, hours, years, months. I just felt like that had something really important to do. And then it made me think about Noah as well, how he was given time to warn everybody, before the final destruction and the door of the ark slammed shut. I felt like maybe, that 7 also could have just been symbolic of, hey, things have been set in motion irrevocably. Things have been set in the motion. The countdown has begun. There is no taking that back. We are pushed forcibly into, the next set. And we went from a place of, because my countenance was what it was, the room, the atmosphere, they were also all filled with a type of fear. The way that you could pass energy from being chased by a dog into a house after you just got away from it, and you're telling the story to everybody onlooking, and they're in horror too, and they could feel it if you felt it. That's how I was received by them when I was sharing this with them. They were all lit up by the way that I was lit up in my countenance. They knew that it was true. I had been greatly affected. But then the atmosphere of the room, before the dream was over, had changed incredibly. We were joyful of spirit. We knew that there was a little time left before we were going to see Jesus. We knew that what we had to do, we knew that time was short, and we needed to spend the rest of it watching, warning, strengthening what remains, keeping our faith intact, that no man may steal our crown. And And then I remember while I was trying to piece this all back together this morning, I felt kind of disappointed that I don't remember how the dream ended. I didn't know if it was just shut off, snapped off, that was all I was allowed to see or whatnot. But that last part was one of the last final pieces I put together was we were in a good place, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. We knew we were going to be with Jesus. I think that was enough. And then I woke up. And then I began, the process of piecing this all together. So there it is.
When you were all together in that room, were you discussing the sevens, the multiples of sevens, whatever that is?
We were not openly discussing the situation of seven. I think that we wanted to, or I think that the energy was there for that. But I think that we just all understood that very clearly, like a very strong conceptual understanding that it had to do with we were given an allotment of time, like, the countdown has begun, this is how much time you have, before this thing happens and whatnot, be about the Father's business, like that kind of thing.
So it's highly possible that today begins some kind of countdown, divine countdown. I'm curious to see how many other believers out there are experiencing the same thing, maybe the same dream last night. I think I'm going to post this audio and let people hear it. But that would put us 7 days from now, would put us to the 23rd of October. You see that little heart sticker I have up there on the calendar? It says, "We tried warning you. We were raptured." Mm-hmm. That's on the 22nd and 23rd. You see that?
Yeah.
I put that there like a month ago. That's crazy.
Oh, that's a week from today?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
That is really crazy. I noticed that.
Alright, I guess we'll get this listed. I'm going to start getting ready to go to work.
Alright, keep looking up, brothers and sisters.
We love you guys.
Keep looking up. God bless y'all.